Well, hello on the Rockers. On this week's episode, acting, sci-fi, and music go hand in hand with our guest, Ajay Friese from Netflix Lost in Space, CW's Riverdale, and BBC's Dirk Gently, and many more, with my guest co-host, veteran actress Stephanie Erb, who has been in everything on stage and on screen, and me, your favorite host with the sassy most. Raise a glass and let the drinks begin.
Life is a banquet, and most poor suckers are starving to death.
I'd like to propose a toast.
This is On the Rocks with Alexander, where I drink with your favorite celebrities as we talk about fashion, entertainment, pop culture, reality TV, and, well, that's about it. So pop a cork, lean back, and raise a glass to On the Rocks.
Fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Listen to that applause. Buttons and bows and pantyhose on the Rocks podcast, the place where we're too glam to give a damn. Okay, a bit of movie news. Disney's live-action Snow White is getting some backlash. Peter Dinklage came out. He made his disdain known about the film, not happy with Disney's interpretation of dwarfism. And Disney's like, calm down, we got it, we're fine. And Peter's like, really? And now diehard Disney fans are upset about the casting of West Side Story lead Rachel Zegler as the princess because she's Latina. And people are like, well, it says Snow White, clearly white. Number one, it's a fairy tale.
Oh my God.
if we need to remember that. Number two, so Snow White, then I guess we're going to cast an albino. It doesn't even make sense. But Rachel, in her interviews and on social media, says she's excited to bring some Latina-ness as a representation, being a Latina princess, which I'm very happy. And as far as getting upset at the haters, she wants to show them love. She says we should be showing our haters love, and we're going to make a great film, and that's going to be the point. And I'm just like, are we sure she's Latina? Because the Latinas I know, and me, Latino, I would be like, haters, I'd be like, let's get their address, let's like Vaseline up, and let's key some cars. Like, that's where I would be. Yeah. But you go, Rachel, because we could all use a little love right now. Like us on Twitter and Instagram at On The Rocks On Air, and on Facebook, On The Rocks Radio Show. Send me an email. Book me for a wedding, funeral, quinceañera, bris. I don't care. I will show up with my mask at info@ontherocksradioshow.com. This show is presented by Straw Hat Media. You can watch and or listen to our now almost 300 episodes at ontherocksradioshow.com. You can also watch us on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, on the Outlet.tv app, Facebook Watch, if you're still on Facebook, streaming with Pride on SVTV, and on Channel 31 on the East Coast.
What?
Like randomly, Channel 31. Hello, Channel 31.
Hi.
The show is brought to you by FanDaddies.com, bringing you the sassiest and classiest of clacking fans and hats for EDM parties, sassy selfies, and even sci-fi nerds. They have some Star Trek ones. Head to FanDaddies.com, support a small business. Turn on your FM. You can now catch my deep, sultry voice on Channel QFM twice a day in over 38 states with my sassy news bites representing GED Magazine and Metrosource Magazine. Pucker up, Buttercup. Check your local FM listings for Channel Q. Okay, let's get this show on the road because I'm very excited. And I've been binge watching, so that means I haven't slept. So that means my energy is like this. After this show, I'm going to be like passed out because I have binge watched. Lost in Space, Riot Girls. But before we talk to Ajay, I want to reintroduce, no stranger to On the Rocks, Miss Stephanie Erb.
Hello.
Not only an actress with over 100 film and TV appearances, but a writer, director, producer of dark and quirky comedies, the likes of which have never been seen since the dawn of man. Well, not really. But she did co-create many comedies with female geniuses that can be seen and enjoyed everywhere. The pilot, Viv and Keeks, written with actress Amy Abrams, was a finalist in the International Page competition. Her 16-episode series, Therapy with Pammy, which is hilarious and very binge-watchable, made with actress-singer Caitlin Hugh, was touted as what to watch in the quarantine by Yahoo Entertainment.
Yoo-hoo is like a chocolate soda.
I know that very well, by the way. The variety series Short Smirks, co-created with writer-actress Deb Height, won Best Comedy Pilot of 2021 at the Atlanta Comedy Festival and numerous other festival accolades. Like I said, you can catch them all streaming. As an actress, she tackles comedy and drama with equal gusto. Recurring roles include those on Ray Donovan, True Blood, The Young and the Restless, Weeds, 24, The Fosters, and the iconic Freaks and Geeks. During the previous dreary year, while the rest of us were at home ordering Postmates and drinking Yoo-hoo, she worked on NCIS LA, Ryan Murphy's Monster for Netflix, which I'm so excited for, Prime's new series, which I'm equally excited for, A League of Their Own, and the new Bosch spinoff, which a lot of people are excited about.
Yeah.
Films include Peter Weir's Fearless, John Lee Hancock's The Little Things, Gore Verbinski's The Ring, Paul Verhoeven, Starship Troopers, which Starship Troopers, that's a new one I didn't know you were in. I know you were in everything else. And Fearless more. She does theater whenever she can, and not just in her backyard. Most recently in Bakersfield Mist at the Coachella Valley Rep, and her performance was labeled by critics a masterclass in acting. And that wasn't even her mom who said that.
It's true.
I
A
don't
real
know.
person said that.
Well, I don't know, but like my mom is my harshest critic. Like if I do bad or if I hit a wrong note, she'll be like,
Oh, your mom's so sweet, though.
yeah, but when she says that she really likes something, I know that she really does it.
Okay, she
But-
has to be honest with herself.
Yeah, but I know when I'm off, she knows I'm off too. Please welcome back to the show, Stephanie Erb.
Hi, hello. Oh my, I have terrible bang problems.
Girl, your terrible bang problems are everybody's best hair day. Like,
Okay.
you good.
Like I kind of look like baby Superman or something a lot when I'm.
What?
I have pictures from red carpets because I didn't bring a stylist where I have this like swatch of hair down the middle of my
Real sexy.
forehead. I'm
Real
like,
sexy.
I am not. No, I'm not a glamour puss. I'm just a me. So.
You know what? The thing about red carpets is they put the most garish lights on you.
Oh, you
and then
look
you're
horrible.
sweaty from waiting or being outside in these heavy clothing that you're not usually. They're usually too tight, or well,
It's
they're
so
too tight
true.
for me.
And
But
also they shoot you so you look like your legs
Yeah.
are 2 inches long,
Yes.
and your torso's 75 feet long.
Yeah.
So you look deformed anyway. It's very bad.
and then Getty Images is like, would you like to buy this for $500?
yeah.
No, I would not.
Thank you. I'd rather have the Getty
Yes,
stamp.
I'll
across.
just screenshot that bitch up.
Yeah, exactly. No.
But we got this question from your last appearance.
Yes.
And they want you to kind of expand on it. You know, we have a lot of entertainment people that listen to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the big name directors that you've worked with.
Yes.
Not just the big name co-stars, but when we're talking about some of these heavy hitters,
Yeah.
we're talking about Ryan Murphy, obviously a pioneer. And then you work with some of the more classic directors, but these big names, when you have your scene or when you have your guest spot, what are some tips? Because you do want to be noticed, so that they pay attention to you and want to cast you again, but you also don't want to be a nuisance. You don't want to be that actor that's like, who the hell cast them?
Yeah, you can't do the second part. You can't try to get noticed. You just, if you have questions that are legitimate and you ask them, that might bring the director out to listen to you. But really, you trying to get noticed is the wrong objective. It's like, do your work, do the best you can, and bring ideas with you. I think that's my best hint to actors is have an idea. When I did Ray Donovan, I had ideas. I showed up with ideas, and they ended up using some of the ideas, you know.
And I think that's what people are asking. I mean, you don't want to show up and be like the loudest one or the funniest
it's
one or
me,
cracking
it's me.
right. But I think bringing ideas, it's like when you're working with a big name director who's been in the business forever,
True.
where you just say, they probably know what they're doing.
They do, and some of them don't want to know what you think, and they want you to shut up and then stand on your mark and do your thing. And others will be like Gore Verbinski was great. I mean, he was smoking a cigar at 9 a.m. on the ring.
You go, Gore.
I was like, I love this guy, but he just come in and my scenes were all with Naomi Watts, and he'd go, what if you're coming on to her and you want to ask her out? What? So he had us shoot it a million different ways, and I love that about him because the scene could have been 50 million different things, and he tried to bring it out. But, you know, you have to just feel out each director and their mentality and what mood they're in. For instance, the woman who directed the Jeffrey Dahmer monster thing is Jennifer Lynch, Jen Lynch, who's David Lynch's daughter.
Well, we know how David Lynch is.
Well, she was an amazing director because she was just full of love and just kind of like, hey, let's do this. Wouldn't this be fun? And that's kind of what I look forward to is the sort of co-creation feeling between a director and other actors. But some directors just want to tell you where to go so you're in the right light and shut up and let's move on, you know. So you have to feel it out.
It's a crapshoot.
It is a crapshoot. And some things I've shot, they've lit me so I look like a 500-year-old dead lady. And I'm like, thank you, but no thank you. And other times they really, like the NCIS Los Angeles, they shot me so I looked really nice. And the director whose name I can't even remember, which is terrible, but he came up to me and he went, "That was like butter." And so he made me feel good about what I did. But it's really, every job is like a snowflake. That's all I have to say. It's like sometimes you get directors who are loves and want to create this amazing vibe on set, and sometimes they just want to get their work done.
I think that's the difference. You and I have both done theater. You've done so much theater and many different genres of theater, but you get that rehearsal process to kind of feel out your director for the first couple of weeks to figure out like what they want to do.
You might have to direct yourself.
Yeah, well.
You don't know.
Yeah, we know how that is. And also, we're talking about sci-fi today. Obviously, we're going to talk about the finale of Lost in Space, which I watched all episodes back to back on Saturday, by the way.
Amazing.
Love the show. Special effects are amazing. On top of that, you have this amazing cast. But we're going to talk a little sci-fi today. Now, you filmed on Star Trek, Starship Troopers. What is your relationship with sci-fi? Because you get cast in kind of these supernatural sci-fi things a lot.
That's a good question.
And what are some of the challenges you face as an actor on a sci-fi set that you kind of have to adjust your creativity?
Well, I mean, first of all, I, as a 9-year-old, was a original Star Trek Trekkie. I was the little girl who had her cassette deck and was recording Star Trek episodes and learning all the lines to the
Are you really that nerdy?
Oh, my God.
I used to record the movies on cassette. And
I'm even worse because I recorded the TV show and I memorized all the lines. So when I first got to L.A.
My wallet is original Star Trek.
See, and I have that as a pin. I almost wore for you, but I felt like you would think, oh, she's doing too much.
Not what Star Trek's
but
about.
like when I first got to LA, I was focusing in on the people who cast Star Trek The Next Generation, which was what was going on now. And weirdly enough, I booked a nice guest star. That was my first TV job. So I think the difficulty with sci-fi is you're imagining a lot of it.
Yeah, well,
So you
especially
have to
now,
have
everything's a green screen.
Right. And really, you have to have I have a vivid imagination because I grew up loving all that stuff. So to me, I jam on it. But other people might find it hard to just be staring at something. And I got beamed out in Next Generation.
That's like my dream. It's like, I don't need any lines. Just beam me out and in.
Beam me up. And I was like, what do I have to do? Stand here and kind of go like that. And then I had to do, and you just have to go with the flow and just imagine what is happening. But some people might have difficulty with that. I'm sure all those Marvel heroes, they have to imagine and create so many things flying at them. That's not easy.
That's an interesting point. As far as technology's gone, it's like the actors really do have to depend a lot on their own. I mean, I'm not sure I could react to a styrofoam villain coming at me.
Exactly, and you have no idea what it's going to look like after everybody's done with their job. Now, in the olden times, I think some of the CGI wasn't so good.
It wasn't. Hello, George Lucas. A little too early for your CGI.
But now it's insane what they can do, and you look like you're completely within this environment. So I think it's amazing.
Well, like Lost in Space is some of the best special effects I've seen
well, now
on TV.
I have to watch it.
Because it's grounded in this reality. We know that the Star Trek and the Star Wars universe is such a super reality way into the future. What I love about Lost in Space, it's very grounded.
Okay.
In NASA history, which NASA is very close to my family.
Oh, really?
My grandfather was one of the original engineers. In fact, he's in all the documentaries. But he was there in Houston. And this was when NASA didn't know how to build anything, and he was like there.
That's amazing.
I mean, we have a piece of the Apollo in like a little resin frame because that's how important it was.
Cool.
And so what I love about Lost in Space is it connects those kind of dots, and it really focuses on family and relationships, which we know Star Trek really thrives on. But then you have these special effects that they don't look so super glossy that it's like, wow, it's so pretty. It's like, no, this is like a spaceship blowing up. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, I see that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, without further ado, let's bring on our guest of honor. Let's bring on Ajay Friese, the hottest and most talented rising Canadian/Indian star, stars in the final season of Netflix's hit TV series Lost in Space, which trended #1 in the top 10 for several weeks. He plays Vijay Dar, Victor's, played by the amazing Raza Jaffrey, son, and also Penny Robinson's love interest. Danger, Penny Robinson, you in trouble, girl. His leading role in Lost in Space comes off the heels of a star turn in the indie film Riot Girls, which I watched. It streams for free on IMDb, by the way.
I gotta check that out.
It's like this post-apocalyptic, very interesting. And he also recurred on several TV shows, including Max Landis's BBC's Dirk Gently, of course we know with Elijah Wood, the CW smash hit Riverdale, and The Order for Netflix. So he's got that kind of supernatural sci-fi thing going on. And on the film side, he's going to star in the 80s homage thriller Coming Soon.
Oh, cool.
So we're going to talk about that. He's also an up-and-coming singer. He is primed to be the true breakout star, covering all the bases and checking all the boxes. We got to hear some of his singing in the final season of Lost in Space, by the way, in a very touching scene. He recently released an extended version of his EP, Light a Match, ... then Run. And in 2020, he released his debut album with Bon Jovi producer Everett Bradley. And I have to tell you, his music really took me aback, and we're going to talk. We're going to talk why. Please welcome Ajay Friese.
Woo!
Hello, sir.
Thank you so much. I love that intro, and this is so exciting to be on here. I mean, you're just such an incredible host, Alex, and Stephanie. It's a great honor to be on here with you.
Oh, girl, he knows his stuff. He knows his business. That is good. That is slick. It's funny when I see your resume and when I do research. I love doing research because I can't talk and learn enough about entertainment.
I will say he does the best research ever.
Yes, I have your mugshot from. No, just kidding.
No.
No, there's no mugshot. He's like clean as a whistle. But when we see your breadth of work and we see how young you are, and then it's very funny because when we look at some of your earlier projects, we've seen you literally grow up on camera. Is it weird to look back on your earlier projects and see yourself maturing and literally growing up on film?
It is a bit weird. I mean, I was in my room the other day and I was kind of having like a mini existential crisis because I had all these auditions piling up, and it had been honestly like a year since I had really had a lot of fun auditioning. And I was like, what changed? Why did I stop loving this? And then I looked at my walls, and they're covered with posters of different things that I've done and different plays I've been in, for example. And I was like, why did I do all this stuff? Like, what did I love so much about it? And then I realized that I loved it so much because I was just doing it for fun, not putting any pressure on it, not trying to make it a career or feeling any expectation. I was just doing it for fun. And now I felt like I'd spent the last year kind of auditioning with some sort of expectation and all this, putting all this unnecessary pressure on me. And I just realized, like, I just have to do this for the reason that I love doing it, which is just trying it out and having fun. And then I had 3 auditions the next day, and they went amazing. And yeah, so I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point. It's the more success you have, then it really does take it out that you're not just doing it to pay the bills and excited that you get this guest spot. It's like, okay, now we're a series regular. Now we have all this media. Now it's really all eyes on you, and then it becomes not a passion; it becomes your job.
Right.
And there is that expectation, even as a musician. Okay, well, you did a first album. What's the second album going to be? And Stephanie, I'm sure through your years, you've felt that too. It's like...
It's funny because a casting director I know was posting something on Twitter that said what you have to bring to an audition, and it didn't mention fun. And I thought, to me, if I don't bring fun, why am I doing this? It's not an easy job. It's not as glamorous as you think. But if you don't have a great time and sort of love everyone you're with, then you're not... Why are you doing it? For money, I don't think money makes that much difference, really. Well, I mean, it helps a little bit.
Well, it does,
Yeah.
But also, the kind of depression we all went through during COVID as well. Yeah. And I know as a creative person and as a musician and as an actor, but also celebrating, the finale of Lost in Space and it being, one of the top streamed shows week after week. But there's still that kind of sense of isolation. You're not really celebrating with everybody. You're not doing the usual press tour.
No rap parties, right?
And
I mean, we didn't even have a in-person premiere. We had a virtual premiere, which was actually really cool because we had like thousands of fans who somehow got access to the premiere. I don't know how, Netflix did something, but we had like a comment stream. And for the first time in my life, I was part of one of those premieres where the live comments are like,
Yeah.
you can't even read them.
Yeah.
So that was pretty exciting. And in a way, we got to connect with fans like we wouldn't necessarily at a in-person premiere. But, you know, I mean, that was really hilarious, by the way, in the intro when you're talking about a red carpet and the Getty Images thing. It's also true.
Oh my God, it is. And you know, you've usually had a few to drink, or you know whatnot.
No, I look like crap in all my, except for True Blood. Then I look kind of good.
No,
but
you
I
look
don't know
sexy, girl.
Yeah.
And also, I know you guys don't have this problem, but you know, my weight tends to go up and down, so I'll
No,
film
mine does,
something, and then like a year later, like here's the red carpet. I'll be like, girl, I don't look like
No.
that. We need to face tune that, Getty. Come on. Now, Ajay, something that has kind of been added to your descriptive as you've gotten older, when it's appropriate to do so, and it kind of happened to Taylor Lautner as well. You've been given this kind of heartthrob title, the hot boy of space, Netflix heartthrob. How does that play kind of with your psyche? It's like, okay, yay, now I'm a sexualized actor. I mean, it helps with social media and, of course, the attention. But then again, it puts this whole weird kind of pressure on. It literally says heartthrob Ajay. And it's like, well, you know, I'm more than that.
I'm sure you don't like that just being the tag, do you?
I mean, he might.
I mean, I kind of like roll my eyes at it a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
like
All
read
good
it.
actors do.
I think I kind of read it, and I kind of just think it's websites kind of doing their thing to make something you know, sensationalized or whatever. But it's honestly not really something I think about very much at all. I just kind of think of it as like Hollywood speak.
Yep.
For that kind of stuff.
But I have to say, it has translated to your social media. It has translated to the media frenzy around you. You know, critics and fans are calling you, you know, the Netflix heartthrob. So that is out there. And we know the younger generation loves a good heartthrob. And
Well, we need a heartthrob. But what I want to know, Ajay, is why did you become an actor? That's what I
became an actor because I loved performing growing up. I mean, I loved just singing and dancing and putting on little shows for, you know, all the families at the ski chalet we'd sometimes go to in the winter. And like,
oh my
all
God,
sorts
that's
of stuff like
adorable.
that. And my sister, who's a couple years older than me, she started in community theater when she was around 11, and just I remember seeing her actually in Aladdin at the local theater. She was just a chorus cast member, but I was watching that when I was about 9, and I was so inspired, and I was like, oh, it'd be so cool to play Aladdin when I'm older. And then the next year I auditioned for the local theater company, Kaleidoscope Theater in my hometown. And then the next year in grade 7, my middle school was doing Oliver, and I booked Oliver Twist.
oh my
Oh my
God, that's
goodness.
like the lead.
That's an amazing role, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It was so much fun. And I guess I just loved doing it. And then over my teens, I did like 14 or 15 musicals locally with different, you know, community and professional theater companies.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of something, I was kind of just like the theater kid who was always leaving class early to go to rehearsal. And then when I was in high school, I realized it's a nice trick. I could just like, if I was bored in class, I could just get up and I would like nod to the teacher. I'd be like, I have rehearsal. And they'd be like, oh yeah, go.
I'm in the theater.
Rehearsal, I'd just be skipping.
So you were
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
a theater baby, basically.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love theater. I haven't done theater in my last theater production was 6 years ago in grade 12 in the Phantom of the Opera, where I got to play the Phantom.
Oh my goodness. Do you miss it?
I miss it a lot.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that I'd like to visit doing again. But I mean, I'm having a great time. Back then, I wasn't doing as much, anywhere near
of
as
course.
much. screen
Right,
as I'm
right.
You've been
doing
busy
now, so
filming.
it's really
Yes.
special now.
I know a lot of the interviews that you've done are really focused on Lost in Space, but I'm very curious, you know, just like Stephanie has asked, is, you know, so you were kind of that theater kid. Were you getting along with kids your own age? I know a lot of theater kids, and with the maturity you have in your music, it speaks to, I don't know, from my own personal experience when I was a theater kid, I didn't really get along with kids or understand kids my own age. I was always hanging out with older kids and that kind of mentality, connecting with Broadway shows that were way mature for my time. What kind of kid were you?
I think in a lot of ways I was immature. And
Oh my
I love that
goodness.
you say that, though.
Yeah,
Most
I like
actors are
you.
like,
annoying,
You
boisterous and
admit
stuff.
it.
But the incredible thing about theater, at least the theater productions that I grew up in, is that everyone is treated like an adult.
Yeah.
Like everyone, no matter your age, is treated with this level of respect that you don't find in a classroom, and you don't find, on your local soccer team, and all these environments that I was used to. It was kind of this adults, chaperoning the kids and everything. And then in theater, it was like everyone was treated with this respect. And me being a kid acting next to, someone who was playing my mom or dad, with the director, it wasn't like they were mentoring the kid and the kid was the student. It was like, yeah, they were mentoring the kid, but both were actors.
That's an amazing point. Everyone is of equal importance.
and you're there to do your job. Like,
Yeah,
they don't expect
that's
you to
really
be
a cool
cutesy on
point.
stage.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I think that instilled in me like a respect for acting, but also maybe a respect to take myself seriously as the responsibility of being an actor.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what your relationship. So you said your sister had done theater, but I want to know what your family's relationship to the industry. I know some younger kids say, "I want to be in acting," and the family is like, "Okay, sure, yeah, but you're going to be a lawyer first." It sounds like your family has been very supportive of this process. I know driving a kid to rehearsal and then going to see their 30+ shows, in a couple of months. That has to be a very different kind of role for a parent.
Mm-hmm. Well, my parents had no connection with the arts when my sister and I were little kids. But my sister actually, her first role, she started in theater again when she was 11, like I said. But her first role was, my parents were living in Seattle. My sister was 3, I was 1. And they saw an ad in the newspaper for a half Asian, half European 3-year-old to play Tam in Miss Saigon.
Yes.
In the National Broadway tour.
Oh my God.
And so they brought Amisha, my sister, to the audition, and she ended up booking it, and we ended up going on the road for 3 months.
Oh my God.
That's where it started.
And yeah, this was entirely new to my family. I don't remember any of it because I was 1, but that's what inspired my sister to pick up acting again when she was 11. Ironically, she now works in politics in D.C.
So she's still acting.
Yeah, exactly.
The family being so supportive. I have to tell you, a 3-year-old playing Tam, we know that role is very demanding, to be in this heavy show, this long epic show, and then to be on the road and, to be doing that
and
show.
so many families don't support the acting
exactly
urge. They want you to go do something else, but it sounds like your family really was supportive.
I'm extremely fortunate that my parents are 2 of the most supportive people I could imagine with the arts, and so much so that they never like forced me to do any artistic things, but they really did sometimes like push me to like, you really should audition for the school musical, and I was like, yeah, I don't know, and then they're like, you should, and then I got Oliver or Phantom, and I never regretted auditioning for that. And also with acting, I mean, I was never trying to make it my career. It kind of became my career, or whatever you want to call it, during my gap year when I was about to go to Australia to do a math internship, and then go to university
God.
for chemistry. And I had been auditioning for screen. I mean, I had been doing all this theater, but theater generally isn't really, you don't really think of that as like a viable career option locally, at least in the smaller town that I grew up in. But I ended up, it was just kind of the right time, right place. I ended up all summer long getting callbacks for this Disney XD and YTV show that was new as one of the leads. And then I booked it, 20 episodes, and that was when I was 18. And that was like the first time I ever actually considered, wow, this could maybe actually be my career. And then while I was on that, I booked Lost in Space. And while I was on Lost in Space, I booked Dirk Gently. And it was kind of just this crazy year that made me not go to university and entirely changed the kind of the trajectory of the next until now.
I would say
So-
being 18 years old and having this kind of domino effect of success and booking, that's a lot of pressure. And again, when I say that we've seen you growing up, you had to grow up, going through the awkwardness of puberty. Not that you ever looked awkward on film, but there was this kind of energy going behind all this, going through that kind of age range. You're discovering who you are still. You're discovering your own voice. So to have this kind of success and then being put on set with these veteran actors all around you, how did you kind of deal with that pressure, or you just thought, well, this is what life is now?
Well, I'm glad that it didn't happen to me earlier,
Yeah.
because I think then if I got this kind of success, or the success I got when I was 18, I think if I got that when I was 15, it would have manifested in different ways with my ego and stuff. And I think I needed kind of to be more grounded and in the place that I was much more so when I was 18 than when I was like 15 or 13. So I'm fortunate for that. I think it all kind of happened the way it was supposed to. But also I remember like feeling this insane pressure of, wow, my audience is going from, 1,000 people in a theater to millions of people on screen.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like millions of dollars being invested in this project, and they're filming it for 5 months, and then they edit it for a year. And it's like, wow, hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of people are investing their like time, passion, money, energy into this project. And I have a direct impact on how the project, is perceived and how good it is. And that was a lot of pressure, and it was really scary. But I also realized that, it's do or die. It's like, you just got to put your all into it and put in the work and do the best you can. And I'm glad for that pressure, because it kind of, just made me kind of rise up to, I think, my potential, and really just, made me rise up there. And I remember the night I had this kind of like epiphany. And then I stayed up to like 4 a.m. that night, just poring over my scripts and like really taking the time, drawing out. I drew the spaceship, and I never draw because I'm a terrible drawer, but I took like 30 minutes to draw the spaceship and visualize the spaceship, just trying to make, all this journey that my character is going through feel more real, and just do all those little things, the work, just to make sure I did my best.
I have to tell you, I've interviewed how many actors on the show. That's probably one of the most mature and kind of well-realized answers and statements. I think that's an amazing statement that you just made.
You've made him speechless, which is very rare. So.
Thank you so much.
But it really makes sense. At certain points in our life, there's certain things that we can handle and cannot handle. And you felt this on, big budget movies, especially with special effects. And, you have your first line on your first big set. And like you said, there's hundreds of people that are dependent on you saying your line right, or the special effects going on behind you, or an explosion happening. You mess up your line, everything is ruined. Yep. I can't deal with that pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. It really is. We were shooting Fearless, which Peter Weir directed, and that was about a plane crash. And there was a scene in a cornfield with smoke, mud, fire, plane bits everywhere, hundreds of extras. And it had to go like clockwork, or it wasn't going to work. And an extra got something in his eye. And Jeff Bridges stopped everything. I mean, and none of us could imagine having the guts to do that. But he made everything stop in the shot that could probably only be done one more time to make sure this extra, his eye was okay.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So, but in your show, how many people are involved? Because it's COVID times. Have they kept it really low in terms of numbers?
They kept, when we were filming Lost in Space, we filmed during COVID. We filmed pre-vaccine. I mean, we were getting tested 3 times a week.
Oh shit! Yeah.
We had bubbles, everything. As far as I could tell, they just spread everyone more out on set. They didn't have less people, but in the room they only put the necessary people.
Ooh.
So there was no one. No different departments kind of watching unless they needed to. They would bring everyone in to watch, and then, everyone else would leave. Just stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, with Lost in Space, there's probably like 200 people on set, and
Wow.
then another.
It's
I have no
it's an
I
epic
have no
show.
idea how many other people are, in every other department that's not physically on set. But,
Yeah.
And that must have been frustrating filming the final season. And boy, did the show go out with a bang! I have to tell you, it was a beautiful homage to the previous 2 seasons that have garnered so much critical and fan praise. But then to have to film that kind of in your bubble must have been a little frustrating. It's not like It's like everybody was kind of saying goodbye, but not really able to enjoy these scenes with
yeah.
all of the protocol and having to be isolated.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bummer to not get to have like an ending party or anything like that. But I was really fortunate to be being tested 3 times a week. And just kind of have that peace of mind that, okay, there's a very high chance I don't have COVID because it's Wednesday morning and I didn't have it on Tuesday morning. And also the actors became my bubble.
Yeah.
And so it was our last season. We knew it was going to be our last season. And so it was almost like an excuse to get to know these people more and spend more time with these actors that I've been filming with for the past 5 years.
Ajay, have you made lifelong friends?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah,
I
that's
definitely
cool.
have. And what's actually really funny is Charles Vanderbart, Alex, he plays Liam on season 3, kind of Penny's new boyfriend, and our character is kind of my character
with the long hair.
doesn't like
Yes.
it for obvious reason, but he's like the coolest guy ever, and we hung out all the time.
That's great.
That's funny because there was a lot of resistance between the 2 characters, so that's very funny to hear. But there is this natural chemistry that you get from the cast.
Yeah.
And this is because I've encouraged my friends, hey, you got to watch the show, and they watched it starting with season 3, just to see. And you get into it right away. It's because there's this natural chemistry that you can't fake with the cast, and the cast was huge this last season. And so that's very good to hear. Some of the questions that we got for you was how has your acting approach or style changed the most from your first projects to just recently?
Well, that's a tough question. How has it changed the most? Well, I did learn something that's been really helpful. I learned something a few weeks ago, actually, from an acting coach. That's been really helpful. It's he got this book, an Indian book on acting. That's kind of a translation of an Indian book on acting that was written thousands of years ago.
Oh my
God.
God.
What's it called?
We're all with our pen right now.
Yeah, really. What's it called?
I don't remember what it's called, but there's this quote from it, and it's, in order for words to leave the heart, they first must enter the heart.
Oh, that's
And
amazing.
just thinking about that while I'm acting has made so many things so much easier, and made me, like, in my past auditions over the past 2 weeks, just made stuff come off so much more naturally, and that combined with you can't force anything. Like you just can't force it, so it either happens or it doesn't. And if you're if you're wanting to feel scared or sad or happy or anything, if you just kind of, without forcing it, just kind of let that feeling enter the heart, then it's so much easier to express that
That's
you're showing
amazing.
that. So that's something that's really
You're
really
going to
helped
help me with an audition tomorrow, Ajay.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
I said I have an audition tomorrow. I'm going to use that statement. That's an amazing thing. So.
And I also love the fact, and again, we've interviewed a lot of younger actors on the show. There has been a very big change in the last couple of years, I want to say, where we would have the young CW and the MTV actors, and there was just this kind of idea like, I booked my show, and now I'm the shit, and now I don't need to worry about anything else. And some of them are not around anymore.
Oh, yeah.
But from what I'm hearing is that you're still continuing your acting education. You're still bettering yourself, self-discovery as a person as well as an actor. And that's so refreshing to say. And you and I were kind of having a discussion before the show. We hear horror stories of younger actors from the 80s and 90s, and it was about the drugs, and it was about the alcohol, and it was about the party scene. Again, I really feel that there's this shift with the younger generation, such as I consider yourself, that there's this responsibility and there's this focus on their career and on the reality of acting is my job.
Also, people are taking care of you instead of letting you fall to shit, right?
That's very true too. I think there's a lot more support and people.
That's
people looking
great
for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was late a few times this last season for Lost in Space, and I got pulled into the producer's office.
Oh, wow.
And I'm nervous, and I'm sitting there, and I have my mask on, so I like can't express like how sorry I am properly, with my facial expressions, and I'm sitting there, and they're talking to me, and it was one of the producers and the head of the health department, and they were like, we just want to make sure that that everything's okay, and that you're doing okay, and if there's any way we can help out. And so that was really nice of them to do that, and everything was okay. My alarms just weren't working properly, but yeah, I mean, like, I think that's really special. And I think, yeah, there's in the entertainment industry, which, people get access to so much money, but also so much, attention and ego boosting endorphins and stuff. It's, some people have like no control over that, and no oversight, or like people guiding them. And I mean, we see that all the time. People go off the rails and all sorts of stuff. And yeah, I think as a society, in so many ways, we're just starting to pay more attention to people's health.
That's a great point.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
But there is still that allure. How have you stayed away from the kind of the party animal, heartthrob of Netflix lifestyle?
Well, it's also a pandemic.
Well, but true. But I mean, it's still.
The pandemic is a big thing, and then just I've had just the same kind of circle and best friends in my family, and
I love that.
And people just around me for the past 5+ years.
That's amazing.
And so I think that really helped.
Yeah.
Well, and we're gonna actually take a sneak peek at your music video a little bit later. But I think that's a great descriptive for your music. It's very grounded, and I have to say I was pleasantly surprised.
Yay!
And again, we're gonna explore all your music. This question comes about diversity. You are Canadian, also Indian. Can you tell me about how your ethnicity has affected your childhood and your career, if at all? Here in the States, and this is from another actor, diversity is dicey.
Yes, I'd say diversity is dicey. I mean, growing up, it wasn't really something I thought a lot about. My mom is Indian ethnicity, but she was born in Canada, and then my dad, who was born in the States, is of European descent. And I kind of had this growing up lifestyle where I would get, best of both worlds, and get to visit my grandparents in Brampton and eat amazing Indian food and have all this Indian culture around me, but also have European culture and American and Canadian culture. And I feel really fortunate for that. And in terms of acting, I mean, my agent asked me like 5 or 6 years ago, he asked me, do you ever encounter any racism in the acting industry? And I was like, no, I don't. Because no one had ever been like directly mean to me or anything I could tell, I guess, at 18 or 17 as like kind of direct racism. But then I realized that like literally no one I watched on TV growing up was Indian. And if they were, it was almost always comedic, and their accent was usually like 30 or 40% of the comedy.
Yeah.
And just I never had, I guess I mean, I always looked up to anyone regardless of how they looked. If I thought they were cool, I would look up to them, different characters and everything. But it would have been really cool, I think, to have some Indian actors playing like the cool character or the action hero or the stud, or all sorts of stuff. And I don't think I really saw that, even though 1 in 6 people in the world is Indian. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy that it's changing a lot, and I'm also happy to be playing a part in that. I mean, I get messages from a lot of Indian people, saying that it's inspiring to see me in Lost in Space and stuff. So
I have to say, a large variety of your roles are not dependent on, on your ethnicity, like you said. Growing up as a Latino kid, of course, a few generations before yours, everybody Latino on TV was either really loud with a heavy accent, or they were the maids and the gardeners. I mean, that's what my people were supposed to do. And so it really is refreshing to see your scope of work.
But
and
I think things are changing.
Yeah,
They are changing.
It's a double-edged sword, though, because I'm sure you also want to represent your culture on film as well and be proud of that, but not play it as a caricature.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, my culture, like, just me, it would be really cool to portray someone from India or who's very entrenched in a lot of Indian culture. But also for me, I'm just a kid with a Western Canadian American accent, who grew up with immigrant grandparents, and so many people are like that. And I think you're seeing a lot more people on screen who, like you said, they may not be fully white or white at all, but their character doesn't really have anything to do with their ethnicity. I mean, does Mission Impossible, does his character have anything to do with his ethnicity? No. So many characters don't have anything to do with their ethnicity. So I think it is really good also to have people who are, whether Black, Latino, Indian, anything, playing roles that don't have anything to do with their ethnicity.
That's very true. Idris Elba is so close to being the new James Bond.
I love him.
And it's getting closer and closer. And people,
I want to marry him. Is that bad?
Well, he got voted best ass of Hollywood actors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
But it's funny because people are like, well, that's not Bond. It's like, show me on the page where it says that's not Bond.
Not right.
But the younger generation is not even questioning it. They're like, yeah, he would kick ass as Bond.
No, I want a female Bond at some point.
I don't know. I'm not ready for that.
Okay. I'll give you 2 years.
And then, then we're gonna have to go.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not Chaz, whatever from. And then there's that. Oh, that's a whole other joke.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right.
Anyway, okay. So we have to talk about Lost in Space. And again, I binged watched season 3 on Saturday because I am sorry to say that I had laxed because there's so much to watch out there.
So much.
And it had been in my queue for how long? And then to see that it was the finale, it was very bittersweet for me. I think some shows go on longer than they should.
That's true.
Because the money is there. And so I kind of applauded that Lost in Space really did have its story, yet there's no final chapter to it. It's not like, boom, we're done. I like that it tied up loose ends, and then it looked as like, okay, there's something new. Filming that, knowing that it was the 3rd season, it must have been bittersweet. As an actor, you don't want to be entrenched in something so long, but you also want to enjoy it. What was it like having to say goodbye?
I was a little scared, and
no.
I was kind of avoiding thinking about it. And I didn't, at the time I didn't have anything booked for afterwards, and it was kind of like, wow, this has been the last 5 years of my life, and now what's going to happen? So there was thoughts of the future in the real world, but there was also, of course, a sadness of just not filming the show anymore and not seeing the people on the show anymore. But then I was extremely surprised. This is something I wasn't anticipating at all. After I filmed my character's final scenes, I felt just complete, and I felt like I felt like I had the closure that I needed, just completing the role, and so a lot of that's credit to the writers. I mean, they tied up, like you said, loose ends. They completed a lot of important plot arcs, and after filming that, I just felt really good and satisfied with it.
I think that's a special opportunity. I think a lot of actors don't get that.
Very rare and wonderful. I want to look up those writers, actually.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what they write next. It was a good combination. There was those one-liners that were very motivational. It's like, yes, but it wasn't cliche. It was just touching. This last season, and I'm not going to give away anything, you spent a majority of time with your contemporaries, meaning actors that were your age or younger.
Yes.
Was it different filming those many episodes with all actors in that younger age group? And what did you learn most from just working with your own age and younger?
Well, first of all, I learned that yo mama jokes are apparently no longer a popular thing.
Girl, I could have told you that. That was like 10 years ago. Get with it.
We like the older kid actors like
That's
me and
so
Charles
funny.
and Nina,
That's great.
we were on set with all these like 9 to
Yeah.
14-year-olds.
And sassy 9 to 14-year-olds, by the way. They were all sassy.
Yeah, and we were asking them, are yo mama jokes still a thing? And they were like, what's that? And then one person was like, no, they're not. You know, when you grow up, you kind of just think that everything around you is kind of just regular things in the world that just exist. And then as you get older, you start to realize that was just the trends of the time.
Yep.
You know, so I'm sure kids these days think that lit is just like a regular English word, when really it's just an expression of right now. Or 5 years ago.
Ajay, I'm telling you, it only gets worse from here,
Yeah,
by the way.
really
It only
does.
gets worse.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, it was really great, actually, to spend a lot more time with younger people, because Lost in Space before, it was kind of just a show with a whole bunch of adults, and then Mina, Max, myself, and Taylor were the only younger people, but then we got more younger people on set, so that was really nice to have around.
And I think what they would probably have to say is the kind of experience you had when you were doing that theater work as a young kid is that everybody was treated as an actor. You need to hit your mark. You have to hit your lines.
You're like
you have to
grown-ups.
be real. Yeah,
Little
nobody's catering to
little
anything.
grown-ups.
Yeah.
You are little grown-ups,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, and we see in this season, everybody has to grow up.
Yeah.
And it had this kind of theme of isolation, even though it was centric to the show. It's kind of the isolation that's reflected in what we've all been through with COVID, from not being able to see our family, not being able to see our friends, being kind of in a new environment where we don't know the future. We don't know how we're going to take care of ourselves the next day. That theme really rang true to me. And to see how people had to adjust who they were and their approach to life and learn new skills for survival. I thought this season was very timely.
And learn to lean on the people around you as well.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, you did have the privilege, though, to work with some consummate veterans, Raza Jaffrey, Parker Posey, Molly Parker. What did you learn most from working with them?
I guess just from being around them, I learned just to kind of be respectful and kind, most of all. I mean, you always hear about people like being like, oh yeah, they're such a diva or whatever, or like, you know, the director yells cut and then they like run off to their tent and don't speak to anyone. But I truly, I don't know if I was just super lucky, but on this show, everyone is great and everyone is super kind and no one's like condescending or anything. And so I think I probably just subconsciously learned from them just to be kind and respectful, no matter how many credits you have or how big
Ajay,
of a
I
star
love
you
your
are.
answer so much.
Yeah, your answers
I
are
love
really
your
great.
answers
We
so
need your
much.
TED Talk, Ajay.
Yeah, seriously.
So I think I just learned that from them. Parker drinks a lot of really good tea. And so
Oh, damn. So my next
about
question,
the tea.
my next question is from me because Parker Posey.
Roz is great.
I love
Oh,
her.
Parker Posey is my cult actor favorite. Love Parker Posey for everything that she's done. As much as I love her, I wouldn't be so confident in sharing a scene with her, which we know that you had a scene with her season 3. Is she weird in real life? What was it like working with her face to face, just you guys in a scene?
She's very, very interesting, and she's very nice. She's someone I think who doesn't try to, fit anyone's standards or doesn't try to. She just is fully herself, and she's weird, and
She is weird.
in an awesome way, and just in a way that she's just embracing, the way she wants to live life, and I love how eccentric she is in that sense.
Now I have to ask you, in working with her, did you go back and look at some of her earlier films?
I watched Dazed and Confused. It wasn't what I was expecting, but I liked it.
You
And
need
then,
to.
yeah.
You need
But
to.
when I got cast, my parents were like, "Oh my God, Parker Posey's in this, Parker Posey, Parker Posey," and I was like, "Who's Parker Posey?" But my parents were really big fans of hers.
You need to watch her in House of Yes,
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
is an actor studio, and then definitely, of course, Waiting for Guffman and
You love
Best
her.
in Show. You have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you
And-
know
and
one
she
of
wrote a
my
book.
best friends in LA is one of her best friends? So in a weird way.
So we're all best friends.
Yeah, we're all
So I
best
can now say
friends.
Parker Posey is my best friend.
Yeah, you can. You know her. You're hanging out with her.
This is a question from an older sci-fi fan. Did you watch the original Lost in Space to prepare?
Oh, ew. Okay.
I didn't. I didn't. I didn't really want, when I'm acting alongside these current actors like Mina and Molly, I kind of wanted to just fit myself in there and get to know their characters and their portrayals and just kind of naturally fit in there as my character. And I guess I didn't want to confuse their creations of those characters with the previous iterations. So I actually did not watch it.
I like that though. I think that's wise.
I'm
Because you don't wanna
torn
be-
on that.
Well, because you don't want to be informed about anything that happened before.
Yeah,
'cause
but
this is
such an
now.
iconic show. We know
Okay.
Lost in Space, just like Star Trek. It was very that era. My mom was raised on Lost in Space, and of course you had Bill Mooney, you had Angela Cartwright.
Yeah.
You had these,
Ooh, Angela Cartwright.
Yeah.
I forget that. Okay.
and there's a lot of throwback that's so great, such as Danger Will Robinson. But the show really did take the original theme and really expand on it, such as other cast members and whatnot. So I feel mixed on that.
I feel like as an actor, you don't want to be affected by anything that came before. You just want to do your thing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Alex.
This is the hot topic. No, it's very interesting. It's like what J.J. Abrams did with Star Trek. When he rebooted it,
Oh.
he played plenty of homage to the original, but then made it his own.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't really know what his
Watch it, girl.
No, I've watched it, but I don't know what his mental plan was. I'm sure he watched all of the Star Trek before that.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Okay, Ajay, from your fans, so what the hell happens? Does he get the girl or not?
Oh.
She's eating an Oreo at the very end. And I'm still not giving anything away, but she's eating an Oreo, not sniffing flowers.
No spoilers.
That's true. I didn't even realize that. I mean, nobody knows. I don't know. But I think it's clear that, well, what am I allowed to spoil? Like,
Not much.
I mean, there's a struggle. Obviously, Vijay is, he's in the struggle, and I think Penny's last shot when she's writing and she eats an Oreo, I think that's pretty symbolic.
yeah. I think, and I mean, we're like, it's our last night on Earth kind of thing, or not on Earth, on wherever we are.
Yes.
It's our, we think we might die in the next coming hours, and
Yeah.
I mean, people have to see what happens, but I think that's a pretty big indication of where a character's feelings are at.
Yeah. And like I said, I think things are tied up well with it not being so definite that you can kind of have the comfort of you kind of imagine in your mind. Okay.
I want to hear Alex's music.
We're going to talk about your music, but real fast, this comes from another one of your fans.
Oh, no.
What can you tell us about your 80s film coming soon? Or can you talk about it at all? What kind of research have you done? Because you probably weren't even born yet.
I cannot talk about it at all,
Ah.
unfortunately.
Because he'll get fired. It's weird.
But we do know...
Thank you very much.
NDA.
Yeah. But we do know it's set in the 80s. That's public knowledge.
Okay, that's cool.
What about the 80s have you learned about that you love?
I mean, I love the cinematography back then.
Yeah.
It was more beautiful. Even in the early 2000s, I find the cinematography was just like, I don't know, there's a charm to it that it seems like they paid a little more attention to every shot. I don't know. I was watching Memento the other day.
Oh,
For the
yeah.
first-
Wow, that is a blast from the past.
Yeah.
It was
Guy
so
Pearce.
good. That's 2000, I think, or 2001. But even that, the cinematography, like even when they're driving in a car and you have that beautiful like grain, and just the shots are just, I don't know, they just seem more intentional. I I don't know.
It's like a filter. All right, Ajay, I am really, really excited to talk to you all about music. I had no clue, as a fan of yours, what a big part of your life it is and how beautiful it is. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are chatting all things music, and we are taking a look at Ajay's music video titled Blackberry, and also the meaning behind it, because it has historical meaning in terms of Ajay's life. When we come back. And we are back. We do that fast. All right, Ajay, take a sip of whatever you're drinking.
Oh, your dirty gin martini.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he also has rosemary from his own garden, by the way.
That's pretty cool.
Because he knows a bit about...
British Columbia.
Well, no, he also knows about colonization and having to grow your own herbs from Lost in Space.
Okay, that's true.
Okay, let's talk about music. How did your relationship with music start, other than musical theater? Because we know you're in love with musical theater, but your music is not musical theater.
No, but some of the songs I think do actually have a bit of musical theater elements to them. But music is the most natural thing to me. It's
cool.
like some people are just naturally super athletic. Some people are always doodling in the corners of their homework and stuff.
Yeah.
I am always humming, always coming up with melodies, always drumming my hands. And I've been doing this since I was literally a baby. Since before I could talk, I think my parents say they could tell from me being like an infant that I was musical.
Wow.
And I know what they mean now, because I was just down in Seattle where my cousin lives, and he just had a kid, and the kid's 10 months old, and the kid like is always drumming their hands and going
That's cool.
and like you just know that kid's going to be really musical. And so that was just, I don't know why, but that's just kind of what I was born with. And it's been a huge part of my life for my whole life.
When did you write your first song, and what was it about? This comes from one of your fans, by the way.
I wrote. Thank you for the question. And I wrote my first song. I wrote my first song in grade 6, and there was a girl who had a crush on me, and I didn't have a crush on her.
Oh
no,
God!
It hurts.
I felt
Painful.
really bad.
Painful.
So I wrote a song on the piano about it.
Which
that
made
was
her
the
fall
first
in
song
love
I
even
wrote.
more, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I never showed it to her. She probably has no idea. But yeah, that was the first song I ever wrote. And then one of the first songs I ever wrote was actually Blackberry, which is on my album that's out.
Yeah.
I want to hear this Blackberry.
We are going to get to it.
Okay.
I have to get through the music questions. It's very interesting. The questions we got a lot of like Lost in Space fan questions, but then your fans really do know the whole breadth of your work, such as your music. And you've really set yourself apart of being part of a successful show, but also as your own brand. I want to know that this is from me. Releasing music as an actor is always very tricky because we know there's a lot of actors that say, "Here's my new album," and then you listen, and you're like, "Oh my God!"
Like, yuck.
Were you scared at all to kind of put yourself out there?
I think I wanted people to know that I wasn't like an actor turned musician. I was an actor and a musician.
Yeah.
And I guess the music kind of speaks for itself in that sense.
It really does.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, mostly I was just really fortunate and like grateful to have this fan base from acting that I could, expose my music to, and hopefully some of them, you throw stuff at a wall and some of it sticks.
Exactly. I understand that.
And I tell you, season 3 of Lost in Space, there was so much action. One of the quiet moments was Ajay playing guitar and singing, and I have to tell you, it was so emotional. It was raw, it was visceral, and it was not. It wasn't super performed. It was very intimate, both as
and
your.
It was not auto-tuned.
No,
What?
no, not auto-tuned. Yeah.
Oh,
It wasn't
I love that.
Yeah. Usually when they have an actor sing on a show, it's so overproduced. This was just so natural. Everybody kind of took a breath, and you saw all the characters where they were at that particular moment.
Aw.
It was
He did his
very
thing.
touching.
Yeah.
This comes from an actor slash musician. How is your creative process for music different than your approach to acting?
Well, with music, at least with my music, I'm kind of the creative ship in terms of the song, which is a really cool place to be in. So I have all this leeway, but with acting, I am trying to, be part of a bigger thing. And so with acting, there's a lot of studying, a lot of just really acquainting yourself with the entire story that's trying to be told, seeing why your role was created in the first place and what its kind of objective is in terms of the overall story, and just trying to understand all those parts. And so there's a lot more kind of internalizing and studying, whereas music, it's kind of more like all outwards, just ideas and stuff like that. Yeah, so I guess that's the biggest difference between the two.
Well, we're going to take a look at your music video for Blackberry, which now we understand there's some history
I want
there.
to see, yeah.
But this is a little behind the scenes that's going to please our Lost in Lost in Space fans. Co-star Mina Sundwall directed this video.
Oh, that's cool.
Penny Robinson. What was it like working with her, shifted from your romantic interest to now your director?
I mean, she's a genius. Like,
I love
it was
that.
really great
Yeah.
because I am someone who, is kind of like obsessive over the creative vision of my projects and stuff. But then with Mina, I just had so much confidence in her skills that I could just sit back and kind of do my part, supplying the music, supplying the acting in the music video and the performance aspect to it, but just kind of trust that she'll take care of the rest. And she did. I mean, it's incredible. And she came up with the entire concept,
Wow.
planned everything, every location, all that stuff. We had a 3-person crew. It was her, myself, and Shane McLeod, who filmed it, who was also actually in the camera department on the first 2 seasons of Lost in Space.
Shane
It's really
McLeod?
much like
I want to know that name. Shane McLeod?
yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes, who's the cinematographer. And it was
Excellent.
just the 3 of us plus a costume designer. Mina did my makeup in the middle of the desert there.
Wow.
It's just the 3 of us, but watching it, I mean, we'll see here, but you could have thought it was.
No, it's epic. But also, I want to know, and your fans want to know, the video is based on a story from your own childhood, asking the question,
Ooh.
what does it feel like to hold on to a lie that chases you everywhere you go? That's pretty heavy. Can you elaborate?
Seriously.
Well, I was in grade 7, and I was obsessed with Man vs. Wild.
Bear Grylls.
Bear Grylls, yes.
I'm in the Sahara. I'm going to teach you everything you need to survive here. And Survivor Man and all that stuff. And I was super obsessed with like outdoor survival, bushcraft, everything, and fire. And my parents called me a pyromaniac. And my best friend and I, we were at the hill by my house, and it was an extremely dry summer. And we were playing with matches, and
No.
Oh my
we
God.
dropped one of them, and it landed on a patch of dry grass, and it literally expanded at like half a foot per second radius. Like it was just like,
Okay, that's scary.
and it lands there, and it's expanding so fast, and I'm jumping on it trying to put it out, and I'm burning my leg, and I'm like, hey, like help me, and I look, and I turn around, and my friend's just booking it down the path. And I chase after him, and we run into his house, and I call the fire department, and they're like, hello, 911, police, fire, ambulance, and I'm like, fire. And they put it out. No one got hurt, but it was like 2 acres large.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
The flames were like 18 feet high, and it was terrifying, and I never told anyone that I started it, and I was just left deeply like emotionally impacted by the danger that the flames could have caused, and I was so scared. And at the end of the summer, I told my mom in a note that I left in her cubby closet in the mudroom. So I confessed to her in a note, and she actually still has the note. She brought it out the other month, and at the end of it, there's a PS section, and it's like, P.S. It was also me who took the $20 iTunes gift card. But yeah, and so later that year, in grade 8, at the back of science class, I wrote Blackberry, and Blackberry is about, it's a literal song, but it's also a great metaphor for just, starting something or making a mistake that you can't control, and
my God.
just feeling the guilt and living
I
with the
need
guilt.
to hear it now.
Yes.
Yeah, needing to let someone know the truth.
Without further ado,
Yeah.
let's take a look at Blackberry.
Camped out on the hillside, always on your chill side. Who knew? Never expected this to happen. What to do when life spins at you? Problems coming up your backside, stuns you on your full side. So. And they asked me and I lied, lit a match and then cried. Oh no, light a match, then run. But where is all this coming from? Whoa. The first blackberry on the new blackberry bush on the hill by the sea that we both burned down. Watching pain from the beach tide, I wind blows. We watched it all just come to the ground. Swore to never tell anybody, never been told. Always comes back to haunt me, I gotta be found. Shake it up, it's okay, guilt rests in our hearts. Since the day that we watched it all burn down. Camped out on the hillside, always on your chill side. Who knew? Never expected this to happen. What to do when life spins at you? Problems coming up your backside, they stun you on your full side. So they asked me and I light, lit a match and then cried. Oh no, light a match then run. But where is all this coming from? The first blackberry on the new blackberry bush on the hill by the sea that we both burned down. Watching pain from the beach tide, I wind blows. We watched it all just come to the ground. Swore to never tell anybody, never been told. Always comes back to haunt me, I gotta be found. Shake it up, it's okay, guilt rests in our hearts. Since the day that we watched it all burn down. And the flames spread up the hill, 18 feet in the air, and I'm still scared. I gotta let this go. And the fireman made it look so easy. How it started is still untold. I gotta let someone know. Light a match, then run. Whoa. Whoa. First blackberry on the new blackberry bush, hill by the sea that we both burned down. Pain from the beach tide, I wind blows. Watched it all just come to the ground. Swore to never tell anybody, never been told. Always comes back to haunt me, I gotta be found. Shake it up, it's okay, guilt rests in our hearts. Blackberry on the new blackberry bush on the hill by the sea that we both burned down. Watching pain from the beach tide, I wind blows. He watched it all just come to the ground. Sort of never tell anybody, never been told. Always comes back to haunt me, I gotta be found. Shake it up, it's okay, guilt rests in our hearts. The day that we watched it all burn down. Till we watched it all burn down. Till we watched it all burn down. Till we watched it all burn down.
And I have to tell you, I have watched it and watched it and watched it, and again, hands off to director Mina Sunwal, your co-star. But the energy of the song, and it's funny, we've been talking about your musical theater past. It's not a musical theater song, but it has the storytelling aspect to it.
Yep.
It has the shift in rhythms and your own voice, from head voice to chest voice to telling the story to pop singer to folk singer. It encapsulates everything in this one video.
I agree.
I think this is so powerful. I think it's very special.
Thank you.
What's it like to watch it from an audience perspective?
You know, you never really get to watch something that you've worked on truly from an audience perspective.
True.
Which I think is really interesting. But I mean, you only get to once you've distanced yourself with enough time, or alcohol or something, and then you watch something and you're like, oh, maybe this is how people perceive this when they weren't involved with the creation of it. But it's really hard to see something from an exterior perspective when you were in the thick of making it at one point.
What I feel like from your answers tonight and from your performances, you do the job, but there's this like reservation also.
Yeah.
It's like,
I agree.
when's the last time that you got crazy? When's the last time you got upset? When's the last time you cursed? And then I looked at your last single, which is amazing, by the way.
Uh-oh.
It's called Fucking Sad. It really took me for a loop because it's a very different Ajay. He's angry, he's cursing, he's rapping. What was that kind of energy putting this song together and then putting it out for the public to see?
I mean, I was scared to put Fucking Sad out, but
it's very different.
Didn't put it out. I almost didn't put it out because I was too scared, and I felt like, I don't know, it confused the audience, and maybe people, I don't know why, I just like doubted it too much. And then I was listening to it and I was like, how can you not put this out? Like, this is the coolest thing you've ever created. And that's my favorite song and probably my proudest musical accomplishment to date. That song is kind of like the anthem of my depression, I guess. I went through a time a couple years ago where I was like, for multiple years, I was extremely self-critical and overthought everything I did and everything I thought and everything I thought I maybe did or thought. And just kind of, part of me always was so scared of me being like a villain or having bad intentions that I would kind of like have an extremely watchful eye over everything I did and just be highly critical of it.
Wait. You thought you were a villain? Wait.
Well,
I want to hear this.
Really scared. I guess I was really scared of being a bad person, and you know, everyone is a bad person sometimes. Or we all do things that we don't agree with later.
I have to say, like, how naked it must have been, because we have this like good boy image from Riot Girls, from you're always doing the right thing, and the song is so visceral, but you're still kind of doing the right thing in that you're releasing what you're actually feeling, which I think is a very good message to your fans. It's like, hey, we're not always this person. We have these pent up feelings. Are we able to?
No one is perfect.
Okay, so we're gonna play a little bit of it just so
cool.
you can get. It's so different, Ajay. So.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
'Cause I've been feeling so under the weather. Yeah, when I go to sleep, my life gets better. So
And that beautiful lyrical voice.
song
Beautiful lyrical voice.
just to say.
And then you get into it.
Oh, I love that it shifts
I
weirdly.
love this.
I'm fucking sad. It's become a habit. I learned my conscience is a noose, and I fucking grabbed it.
Oh,
Now
okay,
every time
yeah.
that I feel happy, it's just elastic. It's like I got given a guitar just to fucking smash it. I wore my heart right on my sleeve, and look where that got me. People
This
telling
is
me
so-
I'm wrong,
I'm so
but my
glad you
heart is
put this out.
ugly. Now every morning when I wake up,
Because we
it
all
takes a
feel
bit
like
to
this,
come
right?
back to my head. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Fuck Fred Sorry. I just had to get that out. 'Cause sometimes I really fucking hate myself. Stab myself in the heart with a hot knife, and it's taken so long to cool. Rap song? Yeah, more like a slap my own ass song. Kinda feeling bad about the past song. Yeah, this one's not like the last
found
song.
that thing.
And when I take it
Okay,
to the
we're not going to
backstreet-
play the whole thing because
but
I
I
need
love
you
that
to go to Ajay's YouTube. But it was very shocking to me because we've heard you as this lyrical master, and then you mix it all, and then there's this visceral, and it is very naked because your brand is good kid, sweetheart, heartthrob, and then this kind of like, no, life is sometimes shit.
Right now.
Yeah.
What inspired you to be like, yeah, I'm going to finally release this and I'm done waiting?
So this, the song is about self-loathing, I guess, but it's also about, I mean, one of the lyrics is like, I wore my heart right on my sleeve and look where that got me. People telling me I'm wrong, that my heart is bad. And it's kind of about like the backlash or criticism we can face from other people when we are just ourselves, and maybe that doesn't align with who they want us to be. But the song ends with, I wear my heart right on my sleeve, basically saying after all this, after getting super sad and taking people's criticism to heart and being super critical of myself, I'm still just, the only way to live is to wear your heart on your sleeve and to be yourself. And I think that was a message that I wanted to project outwards and just tell people, like, just be yourself and don't conform to what other people want you to be. And also I am releasing some new music. I'm working on some new music with a more pop oriented sound, with a new producer in Portugal, Vinay Bias, who's worked with like Nicki Minaj and Jason Derulo and Calvin Harris and all these really cool musicians. But I still had Fucking Sad, and I hadn't released it yet. And I felt like it belonged with this previous section of songs that I now have out, the Light a Match Then Run kind of era, I guess you could call it, of my music. And I was like, I can't look back 10 years later and be like, I never released that. Yeah. I needed to release it. And so I did. And it's the song that it's easily the song that I've gotten the most messages about, and people being like, yo, this is such a vibe, and this is so crazy, and I listen to this every morning, and it makes me feel so badass and everything. So.
Well, Ajay, I have to tell you, not that I do cardio every day, but when I do, I added this to my playlist, and it really like keeps me going. And it's also encouraged me to be more honest. It's like, hey, this is where I'm at.
Yeah. That's great. That's great to hear.
But musically, the beat is there, the sound is there, the rap is there. I'm just like, be our next rap star.
I think he will be.
Okay. We have so many other questions, but we have to wrap up. Ajay, you are touching many people globally in terms of diversity, in terms of you being a young, responsible person in the industry and your music. You are touching a lot of people. But we're going to do a little rapid fire. So do you still have your cocktail?
Oh, yeah.
Because you said
No,
rapid fire.
I finished it during Blackberry.
Can you pour it?
Game?
You need more.
Yeah. Can you pour something real fast?
Yeah, 1 second. Give me
Okay,
1 minute.
okay.
Give me 10 seconds.
In 1 second. So from your perspective,
Yes.
being a veteran actress, not that you're like old or anything, but looking back and seeing that this is the new generation of actors, what does that mean to you? It must be a little refreshing.
I love it.
And I'm drinking your vodka, by the way.
You are? Take it.
can't
Take it.
taste
I have
anything.
to drive home. No, I feel
beer.
like
Cheers, sweet. What is that?
whoop,
It's a beer.
it's
Is that not
purple
allowed?
or it's pink or purple.
It's fine. A beer on my show. Honey, we're a classy show. No, it's totally fine. Whatever
What
you
if I pour it in here?
Yes! Yeah! God, he's so great.
He's adorable.
And so as...
And I love that second video. I need to put that on my rotation.
But knowing that this kind of energy is coming from young Hollywood, it's a little different from the CW actors we saw even 3 years ago, right?
Oh, I prefer it.
Yeah.
I prefer it. Because CW, the old school CW, I don't understand. Not coming from intelligence. I think you're
Well,
coming
Ajay
from
was on
intelligence.
Riverdale, and everyone wants to know about Eddie. Everybody wants to know about Eddie. And that must
For
have been.
people asking about it,
Yeah, well, it's very interesting because you did Riverdale, which we know is really catering towards the younger generation.
Absolutely.
So you did that, but then you also did a show that's catering to all ages with Lost in Space. So was that filming experience kind of different?
preferable.
I mean, the biggest difference was that with Riverdale, I was recurring. I was lucky to be
Yeah.
recurring, but I was kind of a day player. And also I had been such a fan of the show since the pilot came out.
Oh,
and
that's
I had been
interesting.
watching every episode, and I was like fully caught up. And then I got cast on it, and that was
That's
amazing
interesting.
because it was one of my favorite shows. I mean, I think that's okay. Say what you want about Riverdale and how outlandish and ridiculous it is. It's
I will say
genius.
that. Yes.
Alex will say it.
Yeah, because they've achieved a show where they can pull off anything. Like in a
True.
weird way, it has all like the predictability of a soap opera, but it also has complete unpredictability in the overall plot. Like they can pull off anything. Like I could see Archie going to the moon. Like
Well, and also you bring up a good point. It's bringing up themes that the younger generation hasn't been talking about, such as binary, just who we are. Okay. I love that statement too. God, you are like
He's
an
full of-
interviewer's dream.
He has good juice in him.
Yeah.
No,
Well, he is the
does.
heartthrob of Netflix.
He is.
Okay. Ajay, are you ready for rapid fire?
I am.
Take a few sips because we got it. And here's the thing is if you don't answer a question, you have to take a sip.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay. Here is On the Rocks rapid fire. Lost in space with a celebrity, who would it be?
Jacob Collier, the musician.
Oh.
Ooh, cool.
Dream duet. Is it the same answer?
Dream duet, Taylor Swift.
Ooh, I love her, though. So, yeah. Oh,
Ajay,
wait. What's
I don't
your
know about that
problem?
answer.
Alex, what's your problem there?
It's Taylor Swift.
Oh, okay. I don't
Three
get it.
things you would take with you to a new colony.
I would take my guitar, just like VJ.
Yes.
I would take a journal,
Aw.
and I would take maybe some marijuana seeds.
So no poop potatoes for him.
Is that your thing? It's marijuana?
Not really. I mean, I do like it, but I mean, if there's none on the planet,
Yeah, you gotta add it.
that'd be good. You got to bring some.
All right.
Exactly.
Music style or genre that would make you the most nervous to record or perform?
Jazz.
Oh, that's
Probably.
interesting.
That is.
Yeah. I actually hate jazz with every inch of my life.
Okay.
It's too like, it's like, no, come on. Let's be a musician.
I don't know.
Ajay, this is from one of your fans. Gaga or Beyonce?
Gaga.
Oh,
Because she's probably more of a musician.
I'm not saying nothing.
I don't know about that.
Favorite memory from a set?
I think it's probably my first time on set for Mr. Young when
Aw.
I was like a 13-year-old kid. I think it was just the excitement of being on set.
Favorite role?
The Phantom.
Oh,
That's
really
that's
cool.
interesting.
Okay.
Role you wish you could go back and redo. You'd be like, oh, if I could just redo that.
I fucked that up. I used the F word. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
I don't know if I have one. I don't know if I have one.
We all have
So
that role.
I
We're
guess
like,
I have to take a sip. I
It's
mean,
what-
I don't have one.
okay,
is the
then
answer.
take a sip
Oh.
of your beer.
It's very green. I like it.
We got a lot of weird food questions towards you because you're very thin, and people are like. But then it's the Oreos from Lost in Space. Your favorite binge food, if you had to.
Spicy potato chips.
Oh, interesting.
There's a rumor. Are you vegetarian?
I am vegetarian mostly. I'm vegetarian like 98% of the time. I experiment with
What's the
meat,
2%?
What, do you cheat with
Yeah.
sushi?
With what?
Sushi.
I like yeah.
Yeah, you
but
cheat
What's
with
your
that.
2%?
I spent a year in Japan when I was 6.
Yeah.
And I ate kapamaki, which is cucumber roll, and agidashi tofu, and all sorts of vegetarian stuff there. So you can be a vegetarian at a sushi restaurant.
Okay, but what's your meat guilty pleasure?
Salmon.
That's fish. I'm
I mean,
the
I
same.
consider
I'm
fish meat.
exactly the same.
Nobody craves salmon.
No, you do.
Oh my
It's
god.
really-
Salmon's so good. It's the best fish.
It's the best.
Is it?
It is.
God, Jay's the perfect human. He's probably a robot built by Netflix to star in all
no,
their great
robots.
stuff. He's
I'm
I
scared of
just eat
robots.
salmon and whatever. Okay. Hobby or habit that we would be surprised to find out.
So, pardon me?
Hobby or habit that we would be
Hobby.
surprised to find out.
I am very into meditation recently
No.
Yeah, okay.
over the past year. And if I don't meditate, I can feel extremely ungrounded and also super susceptible to other people's emotions and kind of their outwards energy. It can really throw me off.
I totally can't believe
Meditation
that
is becoming a big thing with the younger actors.
No, because it's the way to reduce all the external energy and just be who you are.
I think
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that it?
I think I need a yogi. My meditation
No,
is
I
waiting for
need
the
to do-
Postmates to get there. That's my meditation.
No!
It's
It's an
waiting.
amazing way to practice. It's just a formal way of practicing paying attention
Yes,
to the
which is
moments.
great
Like,
for
right now
actors.
Which I'm
Ajay-
bad
Right
at.
now is the only thing. Yeah.
Ajay,
Like,
don't
right
you
now,
think?
we're all doing this interview right now?
Yeah.
It's like,
And I'm bad at that. Okay. This comes from one of your fans. Guilty pleasure TV show binge.
I mean Riverdale, but actually no, I don't feel guilty about watching Riverdale. I feel guilty about watching.
In the last year.
What's that Netflix sitcom? Pretty Smart. Have you guys seen Pretty Smart?
No, now I'm going to watch it and be like,
It's
that's what you
it's
last
good.
binge watched?
But you have to let
No,
him
it's
have
okay.
that, Alex. Let him have it.
Yes.
I like that. I like it. It makes me happy.
Favorite custom or part of your culture that you want us all to know about?
Pani puri. It's a type of Indian food
Yum.
where you
I'm on
you have
board.
you have a deep fried kind of shell, almost like a circular hollow taco shell almost.
Oh my God,
You
I'm
poke a
there.
hole in it, and you fill it with potatoes and chickpeas.
Oh my God, this is my
shit.
language.
We are both coming over for that. What?
Yeah,
I'll
and then
shut
you
up.
put a chutney on top, and you just pop it in your mouth all in one bite, and you eat
Alex and
20
I
or
need
50.
that.
This is
now.
everything that I want.
Yeah.
If you were to create your own TV show, what would it be about? And you get unlimited budget.
Oh, a limited budget is part of it.
Unlimited.
Unlimited budget. Like a Netflix is going to greenlight your show. What's the show going to be
No
about?
matter what.
Yep.
It's going to be called Ski Patrol, and it's basically equal parts soap opera, drama, and action. So kind of the way a cop soap would be, where they have all the cops dating each other, but then they also have the action of every episode has their action sequence. So it's called Ski Patrol. It takes place every season is a new winter at the ski resort that they all come back to. And it's all these, young, hot people from all over the world.
So it's
going
Baywatch
Some
in
of
the
them are-
snow. It's Baywatch in the snow.
Yeah, some of them are the lifties. Some of them work at the bar. Some of them work at teaching.
I love
skiing to
this
local
answer,
kids.
but I don't understand it.
No.
Oh.
It's so Baywatch in the snow. And people from Netflix are actually watching
No,
tonight. So
they're stealing
let's greenlight
from
that.
you.
Ajay, what
Yes.
role would you cast me at? I guess I'm at the bar at the ski
you?
patrol.
Oh, he
I
wants
think-
to know
I think-
in the ski
service.
thing. What would Alex
Be like
play?
the rich owner of the resort who's always smoking a cigar and
and never
telling
doing
people
anything.
okay.
Ajay, you're amazing.
We
okay,
love
so we're gonna
you.
do. I thought he was gonna be like some like. I actually love this. It's Baywatch on the slopes.
It will sell a million trillion.
No, it literally will.
Yeah.
Netflix, I know you're watching. He trademarked it. He can't
it.
steal it. Strangest or funniest fan DM?
It wasn't strange and it wasn't funny, but it was really amazing. Someone said
okay.
that my song Jasper inspired them and their dad to go on a road trip to Jasper, Alberta, and they were asking me for recommendations of places to go there. So
That's crazy
that was
beautiful.
insane. I never thought one of my songs would inspire vacation.
I want to go there
And
now.
Jasper
too.
just celebrated 1 year, right?
Yes, Jasper. Yeah, a few days ago was Jasper's 1-year anniversary, and that was the first song I ever put out, right at the beginning of 2021.
Which
Alex
is on
knows
YouTube.
everything.
Oh,
How
honey,
do you
I
know
know
these
everything
things?
because I love Ajay so much, and I love entertainment so much. All right, that is the end of our rapid fire. That was amazing. So, Ajay, we have to wrap up this show, but we got so many messages from your fans. And I have to tell you, from Lost in Space and not Lost in Space, not to put anything wrong with that, but, you know, you do have a voice for the community. Yeah. So I want to know, what is your message to your fans?
That is a big question.
Yeah, it is a very big question.
Be present and don't get caught up in, stuff about don't get caught up in stuff that isn't really necessary. I mean, a lot of us are really fortunate to have, a lot of things we need deep down, we already have them around us, and other stuff we just think we need to be satisfied, but sometimes everything you need to be happy and satisfied, a lot of it's already in your life. And so I guess being grateful and being present and not chasing feelings of happiness, but rather just trying to experience them in the now.
My God.
I guess that would be my answer.
No, like, honestly, where's your TED Talk?
I know. We need to set you up.
Literally.
That's what I'm working on, trying to do more in my life.
But you're so
It's not
young to be
easier
doing
said
that.
than done.
It's kind of miraculous.
Yeah, you're very young. With all the press and media for Lost in Space, what is a question that you don't get asked that you would love to get asked?
Oh, good. Oh, you're good.
That's why my name's on the board.
You're saving the most difficult questions for last. What is my favorite cocktail? I was drinking it at the beginning of the show. It's a dirty gin martini, which is 2 parts gin and then 3/4 of a part vermouth and 3/4 of a part olive juice, and then some olives, and it's shaken, not stirred.
Shake it out this way. But to your younger
someday,
fans, they don't know a gin martini. Where did you find out this martini?
Someday, the 3 of us have to have that drink.
Yeah, we're going to Canada right now.
We're going to go to
I'll
British
and
Columbia.
I'll make you guys pani puri.
We would love that.
So let's do a final cheers, and I love that. Cheers, honestly. I think we're seeing the future of Hollywood.
Seriously.
Yeah.
You're adorable.
Ajay, you're amazing. Can you tell, or cheers and then a sip. Can you tell our audience where you want them to find you and follow you?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for listening. And you can find me on Instagram, first and foremost, at Friendly Brown Kid.
Which I love.
That's
my
amazing.
Instagram handle. I don't know how it was created. It just was that one day in high school, and I was like, I guess that's my handle. And then on any streaming service, just search my name, Ajay Friese. And on Netflix, Lost in Space, all 3 seasons are now streaming.
Yeah, and you have to watch. Ajay, this has been so enlightening because
really cool.
Talking with somebody youthful from Hollywood and being so centered, I have faith in our future.
Yay.
All right, Ajay, we're gonna come visit you in Canada.
Yes,
yeah,
please
we
do.
are. We're gonna. You're gonna.
And
make
with
us...
Stephanie's energy, don't be surprised in 2 days.
Yeah.
You're like,
Here we
there
are.
are
We're at your
visitors
house.
here. We're like, yeah.
Where's the gin?
Thank you, Ajay. Hey, wait, is that a guitar behind you?
It is, yes.
One of our fans just noticed.
Is it yours?
It is my guitar. This is my Martin, and this was a gift from my parents for Christmas when I was like 16.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my God.
Can you play something? A little something?
Let me play a little bit of that Blackberry song.
Yeah, do it.
Camped out on the hillside, always in your chill side. Who knew? Never expected this to happen. What to do when life spins at you? Problems coming up your backside, stand you on your full side. So. And they asked me, and I lied, lit a match and then cried. Oh no, light a match then run. But where is all this coming from? Oh, first Blackberry on the new Blackberry bush, and I by the sea that we both burnt down. Pain from the beach tide, eye windows. We watched it all just come to the ground. Just never tell anybody, never been told. Always comes back on me. I gotta be. Shake it off, it's okay, give it rest. In a day that we watched it all burn out.
Yeah, that's a real musician, by the way.
I love this applause soundtrack.
No, it's literally us.
But it's
We have
real.
8
It's
arms.
real.
All right, Ajay, you have to message me on Instagram because we're gonna do a pop-up in LA. We're just gonna do it. Okay. Yes.
We have to.
Anyway, thank you so much, Ajay.
You're wonderful.
Thank you both so much. This was so much fun. Oh my
All right.
gosh.
We will see you later. I love you so much.
Thank you.
That was amazing. That was enlightening.
What a wonderful person.
And like interviewing somebody younger is like, oh.
Yeah, but a person who's like younger and yet
Yeah, but that
very
music is like,
present, super present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where can people find you, Stephanie Erb?
Oh, on Twitter at Erbness, ERBNESS. And then my Instagram is Stephanie_Erb_official because I don't know how to do that thing where you get a check. So I don't even want to try.
Well, I just say it's so funny. I get so many messages. We listen to your messages and we thank you so much.
No, absolutely.
And it's a pleasure having you here because
Always.
what a great conversation. Well, that's all. That's all, folks. It's always a grab bag of fun every weekend on The Rocks. A big thank you to our fabulous guest, Ajay Friese.
We love
Who
him.
has, like, opened our eyes. And it's like Lost in Space. We're going into
Past
space
that.
with him.
And the
Yeah.
music is crazy. And I'm
My
gonna
wonderful guest
upload
co-host,
it.
veteran actor, and I don't mean veteran as like, oh, old. I mean like consummate actor, Stephanie Erb, and my engineer, Tony Sweet, always our,
We love Tony.
and our social media clip editor, Alexis Mendez. Please like and share so we can share the show for free. Next week, we have the winner of Drag Race, Bianca Del Rio, who is touring with Everybody's Talking About Jamie.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what's helping. You never know who's going to be on The Rocks.
No,
so
you
until
got
next week,
everyone.
stay happy, stay healthy, stay sexy, and most importantly, stay tipsy. On The Rocks. This has been another episode of On The Rocks. Tweet me and slide into my DMs on Twitter and Instagram at On The Rocks On Air. Find everything On The Rocks for free at OnTheRocksRadioshow.com. Subscribe, like, review, and share. Until next week, stay fabulous.